This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Fun Monday show in Houston. It's officially Super Bowl week. The guests begin today. What a show. Whitlock brings us back to 2010 and describes why the Atlanta Falcons can ride a Rise Up slogan all the way to the Super Bowl. Also, he's crazy. Colin believes this week will be influenced by politics, but on Sunday, the attention will all turn towards the game. Hall of Famer Chris Carter tells us why Brady's dad has made Tom's job harder this week. I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, Tom Brady's dad has been popping off for like a decade now? New York Giants running back Rashad Jennings comes in to defend Odell Beckham. Of course he did. We ask him about the infamous boat party in South Beach. And former NFL head coach Eric Mangini tells us about the big hire the 49ers made in John Lynch becoming their next general manager. A lot of disagreement on the panel on that one. It was a fun one. Ready for Speak for Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Hello and welcome to Speak for Yourself, presented by Sony PlayStation View. I am Jason Whitlock. That is Colin Cowherd. We are live from Discovery Green in Houston, Texas, for Super Bowl 51 all week. Colin, you know I'm crazy Super Bowl week. Keep me between the white lines.
I'm in bed by 8:15, so I'll balance us out. You know how we roll, man. He stays up, I don't.
I'm crazy on this show. We are joined by one of the greatest players in Mid-American Conference history, a Super Bowl champion, the Green Bay Packers. Greg Jennings. He's got Super Bowl experience. We're also joined by Charles Barkley of football. Chris Carter. Are you comfortable in this Super Bowl environment, Chris? We're worried. Are you comfortable? Are you ready for this Super Bowl environment?
Ooh. Well, I'm probably just as comfortable as you are in a pair of 46 jeans. now, pretty unusual.
Pretty unusual. All right, we have a great show. Let's start right here in Houston, where Mayor Sylvester Turner says ongoing protests over President Trump's new immigration restrictions will not hurt Super Bowl activities this week. The protests have been occurring around the country, including at Super Bowl headquarters on Sunday. Colin, in the year of Colin Kaepernick, with Lady Gaga on deck for halftime, do you expect politics to in any way diminish this Super Bowl?
Not the game, but the week. I think the reality with Donald Trump is he is somebody who understands how to get attention. You know, I always feel like presidents should be like officials. The less I hear about them, the better the game or the country is. It's not going to work that way with Trump. It's going to be a roller coaster. He's going to be in the media because what's happening with Donald Trump, the president and the media have always gone back and forth. Obama had his issues with the media. This is a resentful media with a reality-based president. So I think this is going to be a roller coaster. I think of the 52 weeks a year, half of them, he is going to overshadow whatever national event there is. And I think this week will be a lot of Trump. Sunday, the game will trump Donald.
I hope you're right. I'm a little bit concerned about the Super Bowl. Again, Lady Gaga has a big brand of talking politics. The cast from Hamilton has already been outspoken against President Trump. They're singing America the Beautiful before the game. We've had Steve Kerr this week, the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, attack this immigration issue. I think, look, all the cameras in the world, or particularly in America, will be in Houston this week. And if someone wants to make a political statement and have it go out across the world, this is the perfect place to do it. I think it's going to be damn near impossible to avoid.
It's going to be a different week, and we have to, give the proper amount of respect to everything that's going on in our country. The Super Bowl is a national holiday. It's an American event. And with everything that's going on in America, how can we stop just to say, okay, I'm going to disregard everything that's going on just because of football? No, I'm not going to disregard it. I'm going to keep listening. I'm going to keep trying to get information, seeing how I might be able to participate, because this is America, and it is the land of the free. One player in particular, just to put a little spin on it, Mohamed Sanu, all right, who plays for Atlanta. Read his background. Read about his parents, what his parents went through, so that he might be able to live the American dream before going to Rutgers and their whole overall family story. So for me, that is one of the subplots in the game. People like him who have come here, lived the American dream, and we have a president in the White House that thinks that American dream is not available to everyone else, Greg.
I don't think we're going to be able to escape it. I definitely think it's going to make its mark. With anyone given a platform or the stage or the spotlight, they're going to try to make a statement in the stance for whatever they believe to be is right or true, whatever that is. But football is going to be football. I think when it comes to these players and these teams, we ignite it more than anyone, we being the media. So the more we talk about it, the more it is going to be pumped into those locker rooms, and the more those coaches and those organizations and those staff are going to tell their players, look, we're here to talk about football. This is what we came here to do, to win a Super Bowl. This is our focus.
And we're also avoiding the elephant in the room if we not talk about Trump and not talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady said he was a friend of his. All right? No problem. I mean, I got friends, and when my friends get in a situation, sometimes I have to try to explain my friendship or my relationship with them. So we're being naive if we don't try to address that. Someone should be doing their job and ask them that question.
We're going to get into that topic a little later in the show because the press conferences are tonight, and I'm sure Brady will get asked that question. I want to ask both of you guys, though, as competitors, though. You reached the pinnacle of competition. That's what the Super Bowl is. Would you be bothered if the conversation wasn't about football and wasn't about the game when you reached this moment and it was about politics and things that had nothing to do with football?
Absolutely. This is our moment. This is their moment. There shouldn't be any other talk other than what is before us, and that's Super Bowl 51. That's the Atlanta Falcons. That's the New England Patriots. Great stories on both sides. Obviously, we got Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and their run. They're seven times trying to reach number 5, trying to create history.
Bigger than Joe Montana.
I shouldn't even say create history, trying to continue to build on history. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons, the ones that are tired of hearing about us talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, trying to establish theirs.
Social media has sort of changed the world. It used to be the newspapers were the media. Let's go 100 years ago.
Yep.
And the newspapers controlled the story. And then came radio. This guy named Marconi starts radio. And then it becomes conservative talk, and then there's television. Well, now there's social media. And Trump's the first president that really controls the narrative. Obama was not as much a social media animal. We're going to have to get used to this. Trump is a disruptor, like Uber was to the taxi business, Amazon was to retail. Trump is a political disruptor. He uses social media as a hammer. It's not nuanced, it's not subtle, it's not always thoughtful, and he's going to be disrupting our lives and our stories for probably the next 4 years, and it may become 8.
Jason, I'd like to hit on a story. I played in the league after 9/11. It interrupted the action. We did not play that week. I remember the next week going to Chicago. I remember seeing every field with an American flag on it. I remember that football brought us all together on that day. Now where are we as a country? That's the question I pose to everyone.
All right, to Atlanta, where fans did their best to squash the city's reputation as a bad sports town this weekend, putting on a massive Rise Up themed pep rally for the Super Bowl-bound Falcons. Jason, will the Falcons and their catchy slogan be able to beat the Patriots on Sunday?
Let me say this. Most of the time I enjoy your radio show. Today, I didn't enjoy it. You're trying to belittle the Falcons in the Rise Up deal. You think it doesn't matter. Look, did We Are Family, you're old enough to remember We Are Family, the Pittsburgh Pirates, Willie Stargell. Mm-hmm. Sometimes teams rally around these slogans and things. It gives them that swagger and that energy.
My team refuses to lose.
That's right.
What does that mean? Like that's
an attitude.
It's
a T-shirt slogan.
Look, I don't know if either of you have been, I know you've been in that stadium, Georgia Dome, when Samuel L. Jackson comes on that Jumbotron and he does his spiel. Does it do something? I don't care if you're an opposing team.
They've been rising up for a long time. I think that you just start following.
All I'm saying is, here's the way it works. you have one of these great franchises. Let's say it's the Yankees, or it's the San Antonio Spurs, or it's the Patriots. And then they face in the championship often an upstart, the Carolina Panthers, the Colorado Rockies. And the team that's new to this always has a slogan, always has a saying. Well, the New England Patriots, they have sayings too. Look at the shirts that are coming out this week. Here are the New England Patriots slogans.
Exactly.
Do your job.
Absolutely.
First in the building. First in the building. Know your role is a very popular hoodie. And next man up.
Well, hold on. What about the New Orleans Saints? Who that? And they roll Who Dat and Hurricane Katrina and that slogan and that feeling all the way to a championship.
What about Ditka's Bears, the Bears?
How about, instead of Ditka's Bears, how about the fact their personnel had like 7 Hall of Famers?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If Atlanta gets to 33 points, they average 33 points something a game. They're the highest scoring team to ever win the Super Bowl. Let me tell you something. If they get 30 points, it's going to be a lot of people rising up in that stadium on Sunday.
And they typically rise up on that first possession of the game. 8 out of the last 8 weeks, they putting all pigskin in the end zone.
I guarantee you Belichick has a slogan to stop Julio Jones. He's just not going to tell us what it is.
You know what? Atlanta can be rise up. New England will be sit down.
No, listen. Last week, y'all belittled me because I said they're a team of destiny.
Oh, team of destiny.
Y'all belittled me because I said team of destiny. In this year, and what's going on in the country, how is this rise up slogan not epitomize everything we've seen this year in football, from the Colin Kaepernick thing to what's going on right now? This is a team of destiny with the absolute right slogan.
See, you wouldn't have been able to tell that little classy joke at the beginning if my team, the team of destiny with Denny Green, Randall Cunningham, Randy Moss, we got upset by the Dirty Birds.
Yes.
Right? We were a team of destiny.
You know what, Chris, though? I'm glad you never got to a Super Bowl. It puts a little chip on your shoulder, and it makes you a better broadcaster. If Charles Barkley had won anything, he wouldn't be a great broadcaster.
Joined by New York Giants running back Rashad Jennings. Little trivia question. Where do you go to college? Liberty. Let's talk some Tom Brady. Let's start with some Tom Brady, whose dad made waves over the weekend, speaking out about Deflategate and Roger Goodell, calling the scandal a, quote, witch hunt and beyond reprehensible. Brady admitted this morning he had to take some action after hearing the comments by his dad.
No, I banned my dad from talking, so he's no longer available to the media. I mean, I love my dad, you know, as any parent knows, you know, how much you love your kids. And, you know, my dad has been, you know, my best friend my entire life. So he's always been my number one supporter.
All right, Jace, have a problem with Brady's dad going all in on Roger Goodell?
Absolutely not, because what this is Deflategate. His dad is smart enough to realize the Trump media is about to descend upon the Super Bowl and try to make his son talk about Donald Trump and politics. His dad has come in and did a flea flicker or reverse or something. He's camouflaged and put up a smoke screen. Let's talk about Deflategate and Roger Goodell.
You know, I always defend the family. We had Steph Curry's wife said a couple things. And we always sit here and we go, I cannot believe a family member talked about Steph Curry and Tom Brady. First of all, the athlete in the family is generally the center point of the family. They're the big earner. They're talked about. Your friends come up to you and go, hey, I watched your brother Rashad the other day play. So to not allow family members to talk about star athlete relatives is unrealistic. If my son was Tom Brady, I don't get 3 times a year to talk about my son to TMZ.com or your husband Steph Curry. I don't get a minute. I mean, they already overshadow you. So I tend to defend family members who love these great athletes who are the center point of a family and get a right to say something.
They got a right but sometimes they can go too far. Listen, I can remember years ago, I had a big party at my home in Kansas City. A lot of my bosses there. My mother was in town. There was some BS going on with me on the job. My mother pulled one of my bosses over to the side and because my mother, she don't care. She will go at you. She's going out like, Mama, what are you doing? You can't do that. So I think to some degree.
Well, somebody in your family. Did you have anybody in your family talk on your behalf?
It's a tough position. A lot of times, though, I was guilty as charged, so my family don't say nothing because he's guilty. Don't try to defend him. But my brother played in the NBA, so my family through a bunch of athletes. My son plays in the CFL, and also I mentored Larry Fitzgerald. It's just a common policy.
Yeah.
Don't speak on someone else's behalf to make their job harder. Playing quarterback in the National Football League or being a National Football League player is hard enough in itself. So hold your conversation, all right? We know how you feel about your son. What are we expecting him to say? Oh, yeah, Tommy did it. He pumped the air out the balls himself. So I understand. It's a tough spot for family members to be in. He said exactly what I expected him to say. And just like I would never tell you guys any information to make Larry Fitzgerald job even harder as he goes to the job and have to answer for me. Just like Tom, he squashed it. Put a gag order on Pops.
How does it work for you?
I mean, I can understand. It's apparent. I mean, I can look at my mom. Anybody that would talk to my mother about her son that is hazing him, listen, she's going to give you a mouthful. That's my mom. She has my back. She has my best interest. Now, obviously, if family get involved, it can get sticky to the public eye. But the player, I don't think it creates, especially for somebody like Tom Brady, it's not going to create a distraction. And asking him to silence, his dad for a moment so he can continue to focus and finish up this year trying to fight for a Super Bowl.
There was one more point that I thought was really important what Tom said. And this is something I never experienced. And for anyone out there who has a dad, I didn't have a dad in my life. When he said, this man has been my best friend my whole life, I had to draw back. I was like, wow, that's a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah, and I also think with Deflategate, it's not like somebody is saying, man, Chris, he's running a slow 40, or Rashad, you fumbled the ball. Deflategate is questioning Tom's integrity.
100%.
Okay, when you go to a man's integrity, mom and dad.
Well, it's the dad's last name. His son carries the name, so it's like you're attacking me as well.
There's an old saying about moms: the most dangerous place in the world is the spot between a mother and her children, right? And so, dads, when the dad was the best friend of the athlete's son, I think it's similar.
Rashad, I want to put you in a little bit of a tough spot. You play with Eli Apple. His mom made a lot of news this year. How did that play in the Giants locker room?
See, in a locker room, it doesn't have that much of an effect because we understand he's a rookie. He has a lot of pressure on him to learn the playbook. He's first-round draft pick. He's coming in fighting for a spot. He has to carry a lot. And so we have his back. We understand that his family members are doing their job. They have a say.
Learning process for them, too.
Right. Absolutely. Everybody's trying to learn. And it's in New York out of everywhere, so it's a media frenzy. But I think, honestly, him coming in as a rookie, high draft pick, I think he handled it the right way, and we had his back throughout the whole entire season. But it can affect you if you do not have the right leadership around you.
All right, let's stay with the New York Giants and Odell Beckham Jr., who took a lot of heat this season for his behavior on and off the field, but earned some praise this weekend at the Pro Bowl from another outspoken receiver, Des Bryant. Bryant said, quote, if more people were like Odell on his team, maybe they would do something special. Colin, do you agree that more players on the Giants or anywhere need to be like Odell Beckham Jr.?
No. Okay, listen. The NFL is different than every sport because of the scarcity of games. In Major League Baseball, I could take July off and we'd be okay. In the NBA, I can not even really rev it up to like mid-February. In the NFL, you get 8 home games, and you are expected to win 6 to 7. Because of the scarcity of games, it's a business. Like all sports are a business. The NFL, if I am a distraction and I lose a game as a player, I can get 13 coaches' families displaced. In the NBA, I could lose a week of games. In baseball, I could lose a month of games. What's it matter? To me, the NFL of all the businesses, of all the sports, is the most business-like, where every earnings report counts. So the idea, I really don't have a problem with flamboyant NBA guys or flamboyant baseball guy, but flamboyant NFL guy, little distraction, bad second half, lose a game in Philadelphia, you could have gotten a staff fired. So I've said before, these diva wide receivers, I'm not interested. I like Larry Fitzgerald. I like Hines Ward.
Julio Jones. Love him.
If you're a diva receiver, I would sit down with my staff and say, can I get a left tackle for him? Can I get a pass rusher for him? Because I think he'll blow my locker room up.
All right, I'm going to wait because I want to hear from Rashad. You need to be more like Odell Beckham Jr. Does he have some qualities that the Giants should be emulating?
The Odell Beckham Jr. is a talent that a lot of people have not seen, period. And when you talk about somebody that has talent, then you start to figure out, is this somebody that we should mimic? You can't mimic somebody's talent.
Right.
You cannot. But as far as, Dez going and backing him up, the NFL culture is his own culture itself. We play football together. We perform together. Now, the general public may watch us on TV and then they go back home or they cut off the TV and they spend time with their families. Us, we're embedded in this. We fight with each other every single day. So the culture, we protect each other. So what Dez is doing is protecting him, just like I do, just like we all do. We all make mistakes. We all do things we wish we could take back. But at the end of the day, we grow with each other. No, we don't need to be like Odell in the way he is. He's him. He's special. Let him be him. I need to be me and bring it to the football field.
Tell us about it.
Bill Walsh said you can have 5 personalities in the locker room. It can be boisterous, it can be anger, but you can have 5 of those guys. 5 guys with questionable personalities in the 53-man roster. So there is a spot for Odell. Odell's not a bad person. He's one of the hardest working people on the Giants. Just right now, he's been a little immature of how he's going to handle his success and what's his next step. But let me tell you, since they lost in the playoff, since all the media hit him with everything on the boat, he is trying to make adjustments in his game, within his personality, so that all the talent comes out and so that people really get a clearer image of who he is as a person. He doesn't like the images that people, I've talked to him a number of times. We have a scheduled call once a week. He made that. After the loss in Green Bay, he called me and said, I'd like to be in contact with you. So he has taken measures so that he can grow as a person, so he can grow as a wide receiver, so that Collins will stop calling us all diva wide receivers. They're not cake, they're just icing. Well, you ain't gonna have no party without no icing. So I believe we're gonna see better things out of him as a young person. We'll see better things out of him on the football field because he's a rare, rare talent.
I like what Dez Bryant is doing here. I think what he is saying publicly about Odell Beckham Jr. is one thing. I think what he probably said to him privately is, look, man, I'm a lot like you. Did you see how I handled my business this year? Because Dez Bryant was no problem this year at all. Yeah. And he has matured. And in that playoff game, played a masterful game, even though they lost. So I think Dez publicly supporting the guy, privately saying, look, man, your journey continues and you can get into a better lane and a better place.
This is the thing. We'll allow other people outside the NFL to say things about former players and players, but we won't do it to each other. Right. We are a small fraternity. 24,000 of us ever played, and we're going to try to take care of each other as much as we can.
If I could, the one thing I will say in defense of all athletes, and this is a real thing, and one of the things I've always said about LeBron James, Michael Jordan didn't have Twitter. You can't find a Michael Jordan miss on TV. You have to go to YouTube, and then it's hard. LeBron misses a jumper on a 13 for 19 night, it's all over social media. Today's athlete and today's presidents deal with a force. It's an angry force. It can be a dark, mean-spirited force. It's called social media. And Odell Beckham, the players today, it's harder. It's more difficult because nobody likes criticism. It used to be if you acted up, maybe the local columnist the next day in the paper said something, and then it died. Now it's a 24/7 cycle. Odell's a bad guy. Odell. So athletes today, it is tougher to be a big, flamboyant personality. It is hard.
Final question, Rashad. The boat party. Was it a distraction? Play any role in your loss in the playoffs?
Distraction, you could say it's a distraction because it came from the public. Distraction in the locker room, absolutely not. Everybody showed up on time. Everybody was catching the ball, finishing their runs just like everybody does.
You guys had a great week of practice.
No, I'm talking about the practice. I'm talking about the practice. Preparation was on point. Nobody's late. Everybody's on time. Everybody does the different things on their off day. Now, did it come a distraction from the outside? Of course, but not on the inside at all. And, I mean, you can't equivalate 6 days prior to. Because you may not have a dominant game, you're going to say it's the boat. Well, if you have a dominant game, are you going to say everybody should have gone down there and got on the boat? So it plays both ways. No, it did not play a distraction.
Yeah, winning in Lambeau, sometimes you just lose in Lambeau. All right, welcome back. Eric Mangini, twice an NFL head coach. The panel now, the founder of thebiglead.com, my friend Jason McIntyre. Let's go to San Francisco, where the 49ers shocked the football world, and it was a shocker, by hiring our guy. John Lynch is their new general manager. He was a great player. I covered him, actually. Went to 9 Pro Bowls during his career. Excellent analyst for Fox. But he has no front office experience whatsoever. Jason, good hire?
I don't think, and again, I like and respect John Lynch, I don't think there's any way to sit here today and say good hire, because there's no, what's the evidence? I think, John, it's a unique hire. I think that it speaks to the San Francisco 49ers position. The organization has hit rock bottom. They've given him, you can evidence by 6-year contract. You don't get 6-year contracts unless the other side has no leverage and is desperate. They're talking about giving Kyle Shanahan, the new head coach, a 6-year contract. That is saying, man, we're starting from scratch here. It says Blaine Gabbert and Colin Kaepernick are our quarterbacks. We have very little talent. But for me to sit here and cape up and say good hire, I can't do it because there's nothing to base it on. I'm
not a big fan of surprises, be it my kids, my family, my job. We're getting to a point with San Francisco, they're surprising us with every move. They fired Jim Harbaugh. Whoa, what's going on? They hired Jim Tom Sula, no coaching experience. What's going on? They hired Chip, then fired Chip in a year. What's going on? And now they hire a GM with no experience. Like, I understand over the course of 10 years if you made a surprise move, but when you've made like 5 in like 4 years.
That's where you draw the line, right?
Well,
5 surprises.
It generally shows me, whether it's a family or a business or a football team, it reeks of a little desperation.
And here's what I'll say about a 6-year contract. I think that's great, as long as you're going to get to see the 6 years of the 6-year contract, or at least 4 years. Be committed to something, because you have to. You can't keep changing year in and year out.
Lions were committed to Matt Millen for 8 years.
Okay, look, I'm not saying 8 years needs to be the number, but there needs to be enough time so that a system can be put in place. And here's what I'll say about those jobs. Those jobs are hard, whether it's a first-time head coach or a first-time GM with a lot of experience. When you have no experience, there's so many things that are going to come up. Who are they going to bounce those ideas off of? You've got a first-time head. Is he joining the staff?
That's what I thought. I thought Mike Shanahan. I'm guessing.
I mean, okay. I mean, we're projecting that Mike. Is he going to be on speed dial? Is he moving it? Like, what? They're going to have to make decisions. Someone's got to articulate a vision of that organization. Is it coming from Kyle? Is it coming from John? Who's going to make those decisions? And what are they drawing from?
Think about this. If we didn't know how good of a guy John was, and he didn't go to Stanford, this would be lunacy. The only reason it's not is we're like, well, he went to Stanford, and we know him personally, and he's really sharp.
Nice
John
guy.
Elway.
Huh?
Elway.
Yeah, but I mean, if you
John.
didn't have these connections, I mean, I asked Chris Carter today. Chris Carter was like, I wouldn't know what I was doing. And I'm like, wow, Chris has dealt with personnel, high school. I mean,
the media hates this move because he didn't pay his dues. And you know they're a big pay your dues situation in the media. Was he a scout?
I believe in paying your dues.
Colin was a radio guy in Vegas and Tampa. You paid your dues.
I paid my dues.
I didn't pay my dues, okay? I started a blog, a website, and I made an end run. Not really. I didn't go to small markets like Lexington, Kentucky and write for newspapers. Hey, my mom's basement. Get it right. Come on. But I'm saying, John Lynch has been around football for 30 years, guys. Come on. He's been a sponge everywhere he's been. I have no problem with this hire whatsoever.
But there's a difference between being around football and actually being involved with the decisions. You've got to put a scouting system in place. How are you going to evaluate the players? How are you going to evaluate the evaluators? How are you going to evaluate the current team? And look, playing football is a great background for that. John is really smart. I assume he'll get really smart people around him that can balance off the experience. But you have a first-time head coach and a first-time GM. There are a lot of things that are going to come up that experience helps us all.
Okay, but let me defend John Lynch. I don't know, but think about this. Jimmy Carter had never been president. Reagan had never been president. Obama had never been president.
Those guys had all been in public service.
Time out. Senator to president is two different things. So think about that. So our presidents generally, there is no, how are you an astronaut or a president before you're an astronaut or a president? Well, there are jobs that you have to learn.
You're always going to be taking something new. It's always going to be a new step, but there's a difference from going from senator, at least you're in public service, into president, as opposed to coming off the street and becoming.
Yeah, that's the dangerous analogy.
The analogy is Trump.
No, but I'm saying there are jobs out there that demand a lot, that there is no prepping for.
I heard Matt Millen today talk about this, about the politics involved with being a general manager, and this guy has no experience in that. I took a job with ESPN running the Undefeated. The politics ate me alive. All that BS you read about, the politics ate me alive. When you have no experience, football people aren't political. It's a meritocracy. He's stepping into some dangerous
Here's what I
waters.
wonder. Because it's the 49ers, and because it's Lynch, and he's never done this, my question is, will the top scouts even return his calls? I mean, let's be honest. He's going to be as successful
6-year contract
as the people under him.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. I told you the show was good. You guys feel that? I felt like a boy bander up there today. It was so exciting. So much good information on the games. Our panel was great. We're loaded this week with great guests. We're all over social media, Facebook and Twitter. Good photos on Instagram. And of course, tell all your friends to subscribe to the podcast. And if you're in Houston, come down. Discovery Green. It's popping. A lot of people down here, and it's only Monday. Talk to you tomorrow.